Hey again, it's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So it is time for another weekly bouquet making video. Today I have 6 bouquets to make, and I have some really beautiful things that just got harvested out of the garden. In fact, I've got some new varieties that are new to me, but also new this year. It's the first time I've harvested them out of the garden this year. So I'm really excited to share these with you guys. Before we get started going through the varieties though, I do want to mention my Sunshine and Flora t-shirts are available on the website. I will link them down below. If there is a color out in your specific size, have no fear. I am reordering and restocking, so those should be in a couple weeks. But all of you that have ordered t-shirts so far, thank you so much for your support. You don't know how that helps out my little shop. So thank you for those of you that have ordered. But let's just dive into the flowers. So I've got 2 buckets here. This should be plenty for the 6 bouquets that I have to make. 4 of them are for that weekly flower order where a woman here in town, she gets flowers every week for her and her employees. And then 2 of the others are just orders that have been put in. They wanted a wrapped bouquet for the weekend. So I'm getting these 6 going right away because I know that those people are coming today. So let's go through this bucket first. I have got some really pretty varieties in here, and I need to kind of sort this out, but the first one that is really noticeable in the bucket is this Eryngium, if I can get it out. And these are a little bit pokey. I think I talked about this in my last video. It's the leaves that are pokey because they're somewhat of a thistle. There we go. Look at the stem on that thing. So this is, no, not Eryngium, Echinops. I always say the wrong thing. Eryngium is the blue glitter and the white glitter that I have out in the row crops. This is the Echinops. This is a perennial. Every year I cut numerous stems. It's like a one and done thing. Some of them start going to seed and I end up leaving them for the pollinators. But this just adds such a cool texture into bouquets. These also dry very well. So if you're looking for a perennial to add into your garden that you can cut and save for dried flower bouquets, this is something really unique. So I've got a few stems of those. I've got numerous stems of Status. And I'm really sad to report, which if you guys watched my garden tour, you saw my Status patch. We had a storm last night. I'm filming this on the same day as I did the garden tour, and all of my Status is flattened. So I don't know if by tomorrow some of it'll pick back up, if I'll be able to just harvest it and put it in the fridge, or if I'm going to have to cut it all back. That's to be determined, but a little bit disappointing. I've got some mountain mint in here, which I've got more over in the other one I'll show you. I've got snapdragons and I've got some Lysianthus. But then let me pull everything out of this bucket because I think it's not so tangled. First off, I have Chimney Rudbeckia. I planted this for the first time this year. It is so cool. I only have a few stems of this, and so this cannot go in every bouquet, but I'm going to have to plant more of this next year. It is just so unique. I've got a little more Status. My filler today is Mountain Mint, which a bunch of this was also knocked over with. I'm really sad. Half of that was my fault. I did not net anything this year. I just didn't have time, and I learned my lesson. But there are a bunch of beautiful straight usable stems. This is when I like to harvest it, when the flowers are just opening, the stems are woody. If you harvest this when the stems are not woody, they will wilt. But I love this filler and it smells amazing. So each bouquet is getting 1 nice stem of Mountain Mint. Then I have my first zinnias of the season, and I showed these in the garden tour. These are the Johnny's varieties. I've got some of the Aurora, and then I have the Ballerina, which is pale pink. I didn't really think the Ballerina was going to be this cactusy, but I don't mind it. It's really pretty. Then I also have, and I only have 4 of these, and so the client that gets the special order is going to get these. I've got Dalmatian Peach Foxglove, and aren't these cool? I've got 4 of them, just enough for her, and they seem delicate. I don't know if they are delicate. But these are beautiful. I have a whole patch that I just planted this spring. I ordered plugs. I grew them on into 4-inch pots to make the plants bigger, planted them out, and they're beautiful. These are a variety of the foxglove that will bloom on the first year, which is why I picked this one. I also love the color. I love peach, but I picked this because it was a first year bloomer. Next year, I'm going to be planting some, adding them in that are second year bloomers, and they'll be different colors. So I'll kind of have a variety, but these will self-seed, spread in the garden. I do not have landscape fabric in that area. And so I'm hoping that every year I will just have a constant crop of these foxglove. Then I have Lysianthus. Look at these stems. A lot of these are from the hoop house. Next year, I'm definitely planting more Lysianthus in the hoop house. They're amazing. I think this is the Voyage White, I think. But gosh, the stems are great. So each bouquet is going to get a couple of those. And then I have a bunch of the, again, these stems are awesome. These are also from the hoop house. I've got these apple blossom snapdragons. So this is just going to be a really pretty variety. Okay, let's get started with the bouquets. So I've got all the supplies I need. I've got my paper, which I cut to 18-inch square. It's folded in half, a little off center. I've got rubber bands, my stapler, my clippers. I'm all ready to go. I'm in the studio today making these bouquets because it's quieter. The store is open. I have my high school helper over there working just because I really needed some extra time to get things done. And so I have her working for a few hours so that I can get these bouquets done. Then I'm going to get some editing done. So that's why I'm over here in the studio. If it looks different, you guys that have been watching me for a while will probably notice that I'm not in the back of the store. All right, so these are all going to be the same, minus I only have 4 of the foxgloves. So I'm going to start with the mountain mint, and then I'm going to put in, you know what, I need to grab my wastebasket because I didn't bring a box for, the leaves I pull off. Hold on a second. All right, I normally don't put them in a wastebasket, but that's all I have over here. So some of this echinops, I like to take a few of the leaves off so it's just the top ones remaining because they are a little pokey and we don't need those lower leaves. This is already looking cute. And of course, I always make sure I have the leaves off of the bottom. All right, then I'm going to add in, I think I'm going to add in my snapdragons. And so I'm going to put, I should have enough for 3 snapdragons per bouquet. And when you're doing bouquets that are exactly the same, it tends to go very quick. Now I'm going to make these for that weekly pickup. So I'm going to put the foxglove in kind of right in the center, and I'm going to put it sitting up a little higher so it pops out of the top. Let me move. I'm going to move the echinops kind of away from it. We're going to put that on the back side. Awesome. I'm going to save the chimney. I'm going to put 2 Lysianthus in here. I did mountain mint. I'm going to do 1 nice zinnia. And then, actually I'm going to do 2. I have enough to do 2 zinnias. That foxglove is going to steal the show. Okay, then I've got a little yarrow. I got to clean this up a little bit. I should have harvested yesterday before the storm and I would have gotten some more yarrow and I would have gotten a lot more status. But you know what? That's how it goes. All right, I'm going to pull that Lizzie up and then I'm going to put some status in here. So these particular clients don't love purple. So I'm going to do a couple that have the rose. And you know what? I'm going to cut this apart. Sometimes the status, it gets so tall in the garden. Whoops, that one looks a little, I think it'll be okay. Some of the stems you can kind of split and get 2 stems. So I can divide it and have it on both sides. And then I take the little leaves off the bottom. Okay. Gosh, that's beautiful. All right. Then I'm going to trim to the shortest stem, trimming it in the wastebasket. Again, not what I normally do. You know what? I've got a couple short stems of mountain mint in here. I'm going to add one more of those on the side. All right. Oh, these rubber bands must be old because some of them, when I go like this to stretch them, they like that. They snap and just fly away from me. Good grief. Okay. These bouquets this week are very cottage garden-y with that foxglove. So the foxglove I kind of have towards the back so that this paper supports it a little bit. Wow, those are pretty. And of course I don't have an extra bucket over here, so I'm just gonna have to set these down and carry them over to a bucket when I'm done. It's just one of those days. The storms we had again last night blew so hard. I ended up coming up to the store at midnight because I was so nervous about the basement flooding. The basement was fine. However, I had water that blew in under the front door because it just happened to come from that direction so hard. So it was good that I came up here because then I got to mop that up. But oh my gosh, the weather that we have had this year is just crazy. And I'm a little disappointed about the garden. I mean, it'll rejuvenate. I can cut some things back. They will flush back, but I mean, it's always disappointing. Of course, the day before you're going to make a harvest that, like, my status was flattened. I had a bunch of mountain mint tip over, you know, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. Mother Nature, it's been a hard year. It's been a hard and challenging year for gardening. All right, so I've got some of this status that I wonder if this is my forever silver, because it's not purple and it's not white, but it's got kind of an iridescent look. And I think that that's what that is. So I'm going to put that in there. And then, ooh, let's do a lavender snapdragon. I kind of forgot I had these in here. Even though they said they don't love purple, I think there's enough going on. All right, and this foxglove I got to pop up to the top. This is a shorter one, so I got to kind of keep it in line with the others. If you grow foxglove, tell me what varieties you grow. I've ordered some seed for next year. I think I have Camelot varieties ordered. There might be some purples. I think there's a, is it Camelot Cream? Maybe. If you grow foxglove, tell me what your favorite varieties are. Comment down below. Because I'd really like to get that portion of the garden. Just there's kind of a big swoop over there, and there's hostas behind them, and there's Rebecca in front. And then this year there's going to be zinnias in front of that because I just needed the space. But I think it's going to be really, really pretty. And behind the foxglove, if you haven't watched my garden tour, watch it because then you'll know what I'm talking about. It will be linked at the end of this video. But behind that, there's kind of like a little secret garden pathway that I think is going to be so fun. Eventually, I want to have events where people come and maybe build their own bouquets. They could walk around the gardens. I think it'll just be really, really fun. So I would like to get some pathways developed. You know, if you guys are watching me, I'm sure a lot of you watch Laura from Garden Answer. And she, I feel like, is the queen of garden pathways. Her garden is stunning. And I mean, at the same time, who else has a garden like that? I mean, you know, her garden is just like one of a kind, beautiful. But I like to draw some inspiration from her for ideas from the garden and use it on a smaller scale. I think we all probably do that. And so just, you know, these little secret pathways winding through the garden and kind of behind a wall is like my little inspiration that I take from her to use in my garden. Oh my gosh, and I love these bouquets this week. I love that I'm finally getting zinnias. They're not the tallest. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. This needs something else. Another yarrow? Sure. Yeah, a little pop of pink over here. Okay. Oh no, I'm out of staples. Good thing I at least have all the supplies over here. Having two buildings, sometimes I don't know where anything is when I'm trying to look for something. And other times I have the same thing in both buildings. I like have double of everything. Okay, 3. Again, I'm just laying these on the floor because I don't have an extra bucket. All right, let's do a nice tall stem of mountain mint. Oh my gosh, this one's got a cute little curve in it. He's funny. And then echinops. That's kind of a small stem. Let's use this one. Whoa. I'm going to get rid of that lower branch because it's a little wonky. I don't have very many echinops plants in the garden, but honestly, what I have is just enough. I don't need very many. I just need a few, like to be able to use a week or two out of the year. That's perfect for me. But I do, however, want to bulk up on my Lysianthus for next year. This year I grew Voyage White. Is there a yellow? I think it's the yellow. What did I grow? Ooh, that doesn't look very good. I grew white, yellow. I'm going to put another stem of mountain mint in this one. Oh, Roseanne Brown. Have you guys ever grown Roseanne Brown? You know what? In fact, I think I harvested one yesterday. Where is he? Oh, and I've got a yellow snapdragon in here. Yes, here's the Roseanne Brown. I have one. They're just starting. They're all budded up. So I would say maybe probably when I come back from vacation, they're going to be ready. All right, there's number 4. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come, oh, another one of those rubber bands. I must need to buy new rubber bands. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these flowers. And then I'm going to put these 4 in a bucket and text this order pickup because I know she usually likes to get them in the morning when she goes to the post office. And I think it's about that time. So let's do that. I'll run this over to the store and then we'll be back to do these last 2 bouquets, which I'm going to use some of the Chimney Rebecca in. All right, so I'm back and I have 2 more bouquets to make. Let's start, and these don't have to be exactly the same. These are for some people that opted to do their bouquet subscription pickup this week before I leave on vacation. So there's only a couple. So I'm going to put a status in the middle. I'm going to do, how many zinnias? I only have 1 zinnia. Let's make 1 bright colors. I'm going to do an echinops, maybe the other one. I'm going to do 1 bright colors and 1 more muted colors. So I'll save these chimchimery for that other one. Oh, where's that yellow snapdragon? He's kind of short. Oh, it's kind of short, but I think I can fit it in there right in the front and it'll be okay. I have a little bit of feverfew, and the stems actually are very long for this time of year. Usually my first flush of feverfew is really long like this, and then it kind of tapers off, and I can use them in smaller bouquets. If you don't grow feverfew, add it to your list. I love the Magic Single variety. You can get it from both Johnny's and Geo, and it is just the cutest, happiest little flower that is really easy to add into bouquets. I just love it. All right, I'm going to put a nice big stem of Lysianthus. How many Lysianthus do I have? That's kind of a short one. You know what? I might put that in a bud vase for myself. Let's add another mountain mint in here just because foliage fills it up a little bit. Ooh, I've got a nice big, or a nice colored lavender snapdragon. And then I'm going to add more of this purple status in. This really adds a good punch of color. I think this is the deep blue. How many more do I have of the I've got that. 4 snapdragons. That's probably good, but I do feel like I need a little bit more. I might add one more stem of status in. Yeah. And then this yellow snapdragon, I'll kind of turn towards the front since he's shorter and curved. But I think being next to that orange zinnia, that looks really cute. And then I'm going to move the lisianthus. I'm going to shoot it down the center there, so that kind of is a triangle with these. And then the snapdragons in the back will pop up. I'll move this lavender to the side. There. Just kind of rearranging them sometimes makes things a little bit more noticeable. I wish I had more zinnias at this point. When we get back from vacation, they will probably be exploding. We're going to be gone for an entire week, and it makes me a bit nervous to leave the garden. We've had so much rain, I'm not worried about it not being saturated. In fact, the garden beds, there has been times where I'm not really even watering them because it's so saturated, like it's mud out there right now. So I am not worried about them at all drying out. The only thing I'm worried about drying out is that middle bed in the hoop house that I just planted, but I have soaker hoses laying there, and the girls that I have covering the store while I'm gone, I think I can just have them turn on my hose spigot for a half an hour. My soaker hoses and drip line are all on the same run. And then those can get automatically watered, and I don't really have to tell them to do anything. I do have my raised beds for vegetables out here that I think I'm going to have them hand water, but that's it. So I think everything will be okay. I do have that part figured out for the season. Some of the other areas of the garden look terrible, but I do have a few of those automatic things figured out. Thank goodness. Ooh, there's a nice purple snapdragon. I'm going to put that right off to the side. We're going to fill in with a few of these remaining apple blossoms. I'm going to put, this one's going to have a little bit more snapdragons than the other one just because I don't have a zinnia in there. Okay, now here's a really good example of Rudbeckia that's not ready. This stem, you do the wiggle test, just like you do with zinnias. This stem did not wiggle and it was sturdy. See how it's standing up? This one was not ready, and see how it's droopy? So I'm gonna just take that one off. I've showed that in a video before. Here is a beautiful chimney Rudbeckia. Oh my gosh. Those just pop in the bouquet. Okay, then they're gonna have a Lizzie here. Which is the shorter one? I'll put one here. I'm gonna save the rose and brown and the shorter Lizzie. I like to have a little bud vase by the cash register over at the store and have something different in there every week. And I think those two are the winners this week of what get to go in there. Also, the status that I'm not using, instead of just keeping it in the cooler and letting it age or putting it in compost, I think I'm gonna put it, bind it together and set it to dry. Because status is a wonderful dried flower and it holds its color so good. So I may as well save it for fall. That will be great. All right, one more purple. Ooh, this is one that needs to be separated. So like this I just cut off. I can put that for a pop of color in the front. These status stems are so thick. Once they get going, they're really beefy. It almost makes me want to cut this one off too. Sometimes they're a little more manageable when you do that. There. Okay. I feel like that bouquet making went pretty quick this week. And I don't really have much left over. Oh! Wherever I got these rubber bands, I'm never getting them there again. Okay, so here's the bouquets for my order pickups. I love this time of year every week. How everything in the garden is so different, and every week the bouquets are just so different. Like I have different colors of snapdragons coming on every week, or now I have zinnias, or now I have these different Rudbeckia. Like I've been harvesting Sahara Rudbeckia, and now all of a sudden I have the chimney Rudbeckia. And standing here is making me want to put another snapdragon in here, but I love just this time of year how there's so many different things in the garden. It's so fun. So anyway, I am going to deliver these to the store because my client's going to be coming to get these pretty soon. So I'm going to wrap up this bouquet making video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this week's garden harvest. Please check out all of my recent garden videos. I've got a tour, I've got a hoop house planting, I've got dahlia planting. There's a lot happening for this time of year. So please go back and watch those videos. Subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and we will see you soon.